So about that, being a company car, it belongs to someone that's actually going to use it in the company. So this is all a ruse. I'm giving you the Gladiator. You're upgrading, Phil.
Woo!
Right.
Welcome to Hoovie's Garage, the dumbest automotive channel in all of YouTube, and this is my 2020 Jeep Gladiator Rubicon Launch Edition, and I've owned it for a little over a year, but this is my last journey with this Gladiator Rubicon. Now, there's two reasons why I'm getting rid of this thing, and the first one is the one you're probably more interested in, but I'll cover both here in today's video. And the first one really is, this Jeep is kind of a disappointment. Expectations have not met reality with this Gladiator, so I usually end up driving most of the hoopties in my hoopty fleet. I've only put a little over 3,000 miles on this Gladiator in the year and few months that I've owned it, and that's because it's just too compromised in a lot of ways, especially from where I came from. Now, some of you may know this from my older videos, but I'll refresh you just to be sure. I traded in my 2017 GMC Sierra Denali for this Gladiator Rubicon. Now, this actually isn't mine, it's a company truck. I am a franchisee of Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers. I own a really small percentage of a span of stores. So I've had a company truck for, well, over 5 years now. Before I had a Prius and I would get paid miles, and that was awesome because the Prius cost way less than 50 cents a mile to run, so I was actually making extra money. But then when I hit some kind of animal in the road in the middle of the night, a coyote, a dog or something, and it completely destroyed the front end of my Prius, I decided I wanted something with a little more heft, so I got the first GMC truck, drove it, put a bunch of miles on it, traded in for the second GMC truck, and then when this came out, I thought, oh, I have to have it. A smaller, a mid-sized truck that's a convertible that can actually tow, that has off-road capability, all this technology. I thought it was an absolute slam dunk, and so did all of the automotive media, and they thought these things would sell like hotcakes and have huge residual values like the Wranglers. And well, it hasn't been the case for me personally, and it seems like Jeep has been struggling to sell these. They haven't been as hot as they thought they would be. Now, I have a few theories as to why this is the case, even though this truck is great on paper, and I'm going to show you that today on this truck's last ride. I'm actually going to give it away to somebody that's way more deserving of this truck, and that's the second reason why I'm getting rid of it. All right, on the road to Ottawa, Kansas, a Freddy's store there in my Freddy's outfit, and as we go, I'll discuss the letdowns with this Jeep Gladiator, starting with, well, before I even took delivery of it. Now, I ordered a launch edition. There was a huge publicity stunt with Jeep with these launch editions, talking about how you have one of the first Gladiators. It'll be really cool. It'll have special badging, stitching, and all that stuff, and you'll get the launch edition. You assume that's going to be the first ones to be delivered to customers, but it really wasn't. I waited and waited and waited, and meanwhile, Gladiators were pouring into dealerships all over the country. They were filling up with Gladiators, and the launch editions weren't showing up yet. They showed up weeks after Gladiators actually showed up at dealers. So I didn't even get one of the first ones, which is kind of important for YouTube. Stradman discussed this with his. He actually ended up canceling his launch edition order and buying one off of a dealership so he could have one of the first ones. I didn't do that because I'm stupid. So Jeep really bungled that one, and they said they sold out of them in less than a day, which wasn't true because there were launch editions on dealer lots all over the place as well. So they didn't sell out, at least from what I can tell. So that was kind of a frustrating deal. It left a bad taste in my mouth from the very beginning with this Jeep. But I definitely wanted to give it a chance, and so I did, and well, I didn't end up driving it all that much. It's just too compromised for a lot of things. Off-roading, when I took it off-roading, well, it's a very, very long vehicle. So on the narrow Jeep trails with switchbacks, it just really doesn't fit all that well. I took an unlimited Jeep Wrangler up a hill in Breckenridge, Colorado, and that barely cleared, and this thing's even longer, so I didn't even bother trying to do that in Colorado with this thing. It's just too big. But I mean, I knew that when I bought it. Another thing that I knew when I bought it was the towing capacity. Well, it isn't the same as a full-size truck. So I was able to tow my Jurassic Park Jeep, no problem, up to Manhattan, Kansas, and it did it. Well, I could definitely feel it was back there, but it did it with an aluminum trailer and a pretty light Jeep. It had no problem. But when it came time to tow a car all the way to Las Vegas, my CL65 for Car Trek, that was going to be right at the towing capacity of this Gladiator, and I just didn't want to do it. I didn't want to drive thousands of miles at max capacity with this Gladiator when it didn't really struggle to tow the Jeep, but it definitely felt, you know, it didn't feel effortless, unlike the GMC trucks that I had before where towing, I mean, you can't even tell it's back there. It's work. So I ended up buying a well-depreciated used luxury SUV with a much higher towing capacity just to do that trip, and I still drive it. You all haven't even seen that rig yet, and I put more miles on it in 2 months than I have in over a year on this Gladiator. So the off-roading is, and the towing, yeah, and the rear bed obviously is much smaller than a full-size truck, and this is a very expensive vehicle. It was $50-something thousand. That buys you a full-size luxury truck, and I think that's the big problem. This thing is good enough and it drives fine, but when you get in this compared to a Dodge Ram or a GMC or a Ford F-150, it feels like a luxury car in comparison. Now, I haven't minded the ride. I think the ride is pretty good. I like the way this thing tracks down the highway. The one thing that I don't like now that I've had this thing long term is the seats. I have very long legs, so leg support is important to me. So it's important that the seat is able to tilt like this, so I actually have some thigh support, and well, this seat doesn't do it. Now, if a seat has enough cushioning, it can make up for it, and I can just kind of sink into the seats, but that's not the case with any modern car anymore. All the seats are pretty rock hard and stiff. These aren't too bad, but comfort-wise, it isn't good for a tall guy like me. The biggest selling feature for me, though, is the fact that it's a convertible pickup truck, which I love, but in practice, man, is it a chore to take this top on and off. It really is a two-person job. The last time I tried to do it by myself as a one-person job, my back was in agony. I was laying on my garage floor wondering if I had just permanently injured myself. Thankfully, I hadn't. But every time taking this top off and back on, it's just too much work. I'm gonna go hop in a convertible where the top goes down on its own. I'm just gonna leave the top on. So it's too much of a chore to really be practical, something that you wanna do very often. And with the top off, the wind buffeting is just awful. I think it's better in the Wranglers, I think, because you don't have basically the cab right at the end to blow the air back behind you. But basically when I drive this thing with the roof off, the wind's just batting you everywhere. It's not comfortable, it's not nice. It helped a little bit to put this this bikini kind of cover, this sunshade on there, but still not good. Now, there are a lot of things that I love about this Gladiator. Like I said, I like the way it drives. I love the way it looks. The proportions are just right. I think it's fantastic in that sense. I also love the technology. This Gladiator pretty much has every technology that my wife's 2017 Range Rover has, and then some. It has locking differentials, disconnecting sway bars. But what I like is how much easier it is to use. With the Range Rover, when I turn on the heated seats, I have to push a button and then toggle it through in the infotainment screen. It's not the way with the Gladiator. There's buttons for everything everywhere. There's plenty of shortcut buttons, but then if you want to use the touchscreen, you can also use the touchscreen. The camera system also is awesome. It's way better than the Range Rover and a lot of other off-road cameras. It's just very good. The technology in this thing is great. I also love the personality of these things. Jeep put a lot of Easter eggs in these things that cater to enthusiasts. This truck was built for enthusiasts, and I really appreciate that. I just wish they had put a little more enthusiasm in the engine. 285 horsepower, it's fine, but it's just not enough. That's the number one gripe that most people have with these. So that's the main reason why I'm getting rid of it. Well, one of the main reasons. The second one is because, well, I have a company car, but I do very little, if not hardly any, company work anymore. Back even a year or two ago, I was still doing quite a bit with Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers. I was helping open the stores and helping with operations and all that stuff, but nowadays I'm just a full-time YouTuber. There is somebody, though, in my organization that could really use this thing. He travels between Kansas City and Arkansas every week. He's put 100,000 miles on his current company car in, well, 2 years, more than 100,000 miles. So he's due for an upgrade. Now, this is a total surprise to him. He has no idea that he's upgrading. He currently drives a GMC Acadia. It's getting up there in mileage, about time for retirement, and he has no idea that he's getting this. He mentioned that he has some upcoming maintenance on his current company car, GMC Acadia, that he'll need to get done if he's keeping it, or he should upgrade, and that's what planted the idea in my head. He really deserves a decent upgrade considering how hard he works. He basically runs the entire territory, just working tirelessly, traveling, well, all over the Midwest, and he does like to vacation in Colorado. He goes to a little place, a little cabin that his family has up there, so I know he likes off-roading and all that stuff. So really, this is the perfect fit for him. The fuel economy is reasonable. The maintenance, I imagine, will be reasonable, and I think it'll be fun to see what a Gladiator will be able to do with 150, 200, 250,000 miles, which I know he will get there in very short order, in 2, 3, 4 years we will be there with this Gladiator that only has 3,000 miles on it, so I'll keep track of it as well. But now we're getting close to the store in Ottawa, Kansas. I'm going to check in with Phil, who's getting this Jeep and he doesn't know it, along with some other people. Probably have lunch and then I'll surprise him. Oh, we're here in the Freddy's parking lot, and it just further proves my point. Full-size truck, more full-size trucks, just a sea of full-size trucks, because that's what people end up doing instead of this, because they're the same money. Let's check on Phil and the guys in here, see what's up. I'm vlogging. Where's Phil? Is he on the line? Oh, they are. Oh my goodness.
Really?
I'm vlogging. I'm vlogging.
Hi.
So the masked bandit is Phil, JC, Kiki.
Did you find any dust on that shirt?
Yeah. just a bit. I can still do it.
Oh, you can.
Oh yeah.
You're gonna be hurting tomorrow after that one patty smash, though.
Oh, I know.
Those muscles are probably weak again.
Oh, we got it ordered. Did you flip it? Or you
Yep, he flipped it. He flipped it. Not bad. Not bad. A little windy's looking, but still.
A little windy's looking. A little thick?
A little thick on the seasoning.
Well, it was full.
Those are gonna be some.
Alright. The lettuce wrap, I think it's been 45 seconds.
That's a pretty good scrape, though. Didn't lose any on your scrape. Alright. He still got it!
Alright, so I'm gonna let them finish up and then we'll go out to lunch. But really cool concept. I was always excited to get into Freddy's instead of being in the car business years ago. And part of it was the namesake, actually. Freddy, the man himself that they named behind this, he passed away last week at 95 years old. His pictures are all over the store. Now there's copyright music playing in the lobby to where it doesn't work in YouTube videos, but anyway, it is really sad that Freddy passed last week at 95 years old. He was a World War II veteran. He served in the South Pacific. Just an incredible guy with a great story. They started Freddy's in 2002. His son started it along with another partner and named it in their father's namesake. He was actually still working full-time. He was in the beverage industry in his late 70s and eventually retired just to become basically their mascot, a real live mascot, going around to openings, shaking hands, and he became a local celebrity in Wichita, where this started in 2002. And now there's hundreds of locations all over the country, and he traveled up until very recently to a lot of these openings and conferences, so I had a number of occasions to meet him. A very warm, nice, humble dude, pretty funny as well. And it's always sad to lose another one of the greatest generation. It seems like we're losing a lot of them this year, my grandmother, but just tons, not just because of the virus affecting people in that age group, but also just from, you know, being alone and being separated from their families to keep these people safe. I feel like it's definitely taking a toll on this generation as well. But so there's really no right answer. But let's go back to the happy note. I'll take Phil, who runs all the territory, and JC, who kind of runs the Kansas City area, out to lunch, and I'll surprise Phil with the good news. Hopefully he likes it. I know they don't like to be on camera. Well, one of them does. He's kind of a ham. Well, do you miss me?
It's been some time.
It's been a bit.
It's been a bit. How many actual restaurants has this vehicle been to?
In 2020?
This is your company vehicle, right?
Yes.
I know it's been to St. Joe. I know it's been to Lenexa. It's been to Ottawa.
Yeah. It would not. There's an opening in there too.
Oh.
There's one.
Did you make it to Hot Springs in this?
Yes. Oh no, I drove the BMW. Oh, I drove the 760 and it broke down. That's right. I should have taken this. So
this is only a Kansas, Missouri vehicle.
I guess so.
Okay.
So about that, being a company car, it belongs to someone that's actually going to use it in the company. So this is all a ruse. I'm giving you the Gladiator. You're upgrading, Phil. Woo!
Great.
Okay. That's it.
That's it?
Yeah. I'll take your GMC home. We'll trade it in. And this is your new rig. I want you to drive it to like 250,000 miles, kind of stress test this thing, because nobody has ever done that with a Gladiator before. So you'll be the person to do it.
I'll be the first one to take it to 200,000 miles?
We'll update people on the progress and see how it does and see if it's up to Phil duty standards, yes?
Whoa. That sounds interesting.
All right.
Sounds like it's going to be interesting. All right, let's go.
Congrats.
Let's do this.
Guess that's it. He seemed very excited. Thank you for watching.
I've got Tyler here to talk a little bit more about something special on the menu. You want to take it away?
So welcome to Freddy's. We're the new kids on the block. Now come on in, we're serving it fresh and hot. We got DJ Alex on the grill, spinning fresh patties, sure to give you a thrill. Next it's Brian toasting some buns, mustard, pickle, onion, that's how it's done. Then it's passed to my OG John. Get you some fries and call it when it's done. Taking care of guests is how we do it, son. So treat yourself to Freddy's, we second to none.
All right, I got to try this out. Hey, give a big shout out to Tyler here. I mean, he did an incredible job coming up with that.